I love it. I hate it. I love it. I hate it. I love it. I hate it. I go through the love-hate.
Welcome to Unscripted with Kirby Hasseman and Bill Petrie. In this weekly podcast, Kirby and Bill talk about the world of marketing, branding, and promotional products. Unscripted is available only at promocorner.com, the leader in digital marketing for the promotional products industry. Now, here's Kirby and Bill.
And welcome to episode number 203 of Unscripted. I am your co-host, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, the Hauptmann of hand sanitizer, nice. The one and only Dr. Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how the pandemic are you?
I am doing all right, buddy. I think with each week, this feels is becoming like the Groundhog Day of
becoming.
Because I think each time I'm like, well, I'm sort of getting used to it. I'm finding a rhythm. What I've found is I am either really, really busy or really not busy. And there's no kind of in between for me. Yeah. So that's where I'm living. How about you, man?
Yeah, just running and gunning, not sure what's coming down the pike next. I mean, It's always interesting, and just trying to keep a bright face and keep positive, which sometimes can be challenging. We talked about that, I know. But always try to find the good in the world, Kirby, and you know where I have found it.
Where's that, Bill?
Thank you for asking me, Kirby. That'd be the good folks are over at commonsku. You know how much we love our pals over at commonsku.
I do.
It's a platform that was built by distributors, by distributors, for distributors, all distributor focused. I lost my train of thought. So you know what? Let's just start over there. commonsku is designed and built by distributors, for distributors. That means they understand our industry and the unique challenges the modern distributor faces. And as I was looking at, I have a bunch of talking points, all transparency, and I get to pick what I want to talk about. So today what I want to talk about, Kirby, is how it keeps your sales life organized, especially with things right now. You're probably starting to get projects from clients.
Yep.
Very tepid kind of people dipping their toes in the water. Maybe we want to do something, maybe we don't. A lot of balls in the air. And what it allows you to do is see all your projects at once in one place and know if you're on track to hit your sales goals, which probably have been revised, but see if you're on track to hit those sales goals and stay on top of the tasks needed to move those balls forward.
Yeah. And for me, it's almost like the opposite, but it's the same tool. But when you're in a situation like this, I think one of the things that you want to do is you're like, I need to check in. I need to send a presentation. I need to do this, right? But the other side of making sure you're on top of things is it keeps track of when your last contact was with that client. And for me, in my head, I'm like, I haven't talked to them in a long time. And then I realized that I contacted them on Friday and it's Monday. And so it also keeps you from being really annoying, right? Like, so you can strike that balance because you have the information right in front of you.
Absolutely. So from ideation to invoicing, commonsku is going to help keep your team connected at every stage of the workflow. You want to learn more? And gosh darn it, why wouldn't you? Head over to commonsku.com. You won't be sorry you did. Now, Kirby, I want to thank you for having the courage to have this podcast with me, do this podcast with me, whatever I'm talking about. I don't even know
anymore.
Be on
the podcast with you. Yes.
Be on the cast of pod. Kirby, do you have a topic you'd like to start us off with, or would you like me to start us off? I'm good either way.
You know what? I'll give you the floor.
Let's start with the news that came out yesterday, which was Wednesday. I'm sure it's on your list. So I'm probably
it was the topic I was going to bring up. So I figured one of us were going
to. So we're talking about the pros and cons of hitchhiking. No, we're going to talk about Expo 2021. Yes. So obviously a lot of planning goes into PPAI Expo every year. It's kind of the Super Bowl of our industry, with apologies to ASI, but it is the largest trade show in our industry. Yep. And so with the current environment, and even though Expo is about 7 months away, they're starting to really plan it differently. So it's going to be 2 days instead of 3. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday show as opposed to a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The show hours are going to be extended.
In the interest of transparency, just because I don't know that you said, but Paul Bellantone sent out a video and an email sort of outlining all this. So
So this came from an email from PPAI, and Paul had a video message plus a written message that went with it. So it's going to be 2 days of show instead of 3, but extended hours. They're planning on 50% of the previous show's footprint. So half the size, which is, that one got my attention.
Yep.
They're going to have some education, but it's going to be scaled back a little bit because they're expecting 50% of the attendees to be there.
Yeah.
And then they're also limiting booth size. So a lot to kind of unpack there, Kirby. What are your initial thoughts when you read that, saw that, heard that, watched that?
Yeah, exactly. All of those things. I think my initial reaction is, and we've talked about this before. I really think PPI and Paul have done a great job of just communicating, just sort of matter of factly, here's what's going on. Here's the plan. It's just great leadership. I know we've said it, but it struck me. Right.
Yep.
The second was I was just excited that the plan is moving forward for the event to happen.
Yeah.
And I think making these changes are the way that it happens. And what I mean by that is if you just say, hey, it's going to be business as normal, I feel like that's a great way for you to go, we're doing it. And then all of a sudden, a last minute panic cancellation. Whereas if you are going, look, we are planning for the worst case scenario. We're going to do it, but we're going to do it under these guidelines. He talked about even taking temperatures and going through above and beyond the protocols that are required. And to me, I'm like, okay, it makes me excited that we're doing it. And it makes me excited that we have the ability to do this event and show people how to do events like this moving forward as an industry. And so those were, and the specifics of 50% of the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I'm going to trust them and the experts for that. 2-day show, fine with me. One of the things they talk about is they say the show is it's not just about a trade show. Right. I couldn't agree with that more. Yeah. My shift has changed on that. So 2 days or 3 days doesn't matter to me as much. I am curious to see how the booth size change is going to be.
I think they're limiting booth size. I think what I mean by that, I think they might mean you're not going to have these giant booths. Maybe it's going to be smaller booths. I don't think they're going to go from a 10 to 10 to a 5 by 5 or anything like that. So I had a lot of the same thoughts you did when I heard that. I read it. I'm like, what a great example of servant leadership, of making difficult decisions that really don't have to be made right now. Or if they have been made, they certainly don't need to be communicated right now. But what an example of servant leadership and leading with communication. I probably sound like a broken record because I say it in my personal life. I say it in my professional life. 95% of issues can and will be resolved with proper communication. Right. And what Paul and his team continually do is lead by communication. It's transparent. It's authentic. We all know that Expo is going to be different. And we can all mourn that. Now we have a little time to mourn that before hopefully we can actually go to Expo, right? Hopefully there is still going to be an Expo. But the fact that they're thinking about these things now and making the plans for that is truly amazing. And they're working with Mandalay Bay on that. Of course, I read it. I'm like, oh man, that's the numbers are staggering. When you think of the size of the show and it's essentially cut in half, that's huge. Yeah, that is huge. And it just underscores what you and I have talked about. And many people have talked about. It's not exclusive to you and me. This industry is going to be radically different coming out of this, at least for the immediate, 2, 3, 4 years. It's going to be very, very different. And in the long run, it's probably okay, right? In the short term, it's going to hurt and it's going to be painful. But I'm so thankful, like you, that we have Paul Bellantone leading PPAI and the group there and making us think about things probably before we need to think about them, which I appreciate. Yeah, but I think that doing it in that way, and I know that this is what you're saying too, but I'm like, your point about like communicating it before we need to communicate it, but what it was is, oh gosh, it made me think, wow, they are ahead of this. They are on top of this. Yes, absolutely.
And it inspired confidence in me to go, you know what? Yeah, I'm in. Like, and so that was
no question.
That was cool.
Yeah. Let me underscore what I was saying. Cause you're right. What I'm saying by that is I haven't even thought about Expo yet. Cause it seems so far down the road. And the fact that they are thinking of that right now, and I know they're thinking about it. It's a big deal for PPAI. They think about it constantly year round, but the fact they're communicating it this early before any of the rest of us are thinking about it. Yeah. Truly, truly love. Truly love.
Me too.
All right, Curry.
Me too. Cool stuff.
Got a topic?
Okay. Yeah. So I'm looking through my list of topics. So I'm going to go with this.
I know you have plenty of them.
Yes, I do. So I'm going to go with, one of the things that I have said is during, and not just I have said, it's everybody's like, hey, you've got all this time on your hands, which I found I don't have as much time on my hands as everybody had suggested. But one of the things that I've said is, hey, I want to learn something new. I want to do something interesting,
Yep.
all that sort of thing. And so I've tried to not only create content, I know that that's something you guys are doing, and provide value that way, but I finally broke down and subscribed to Masterclass this week.
Okay. Did you?
I don't know if you've seen it or the people who watch
I'm familiar with it, but
yeah.
for people who aren't, why don't you explain it?
Yeah, so it's an online kind of group of classes, and when it's master classes, it is some of the biggest names in whatever you want to learn. So if if Gordon Ramsay teaches cooking, or Wolfgang Puck teaches cooking, Martin Scorsese teaches a film making class, Penn and Teller magic,
and you buy a pass and you can access all of them. Is that correct? Is that how it
all
works?
of them?
Okay, just making sure I understand.
It was literally, and I'd gone back and forth on it, and candidly, I hadn't even, I just always saw the ads. I'm like, man, that is really interesting. And then one day I saw it, and it was like $180 for the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's 1 hour of one credit hour in college, and you get access to all these things. I will tell you, I've had it for less than a week at this point.
And
I've started 5 different classes. I think it's awesome.
It's
almost overwhelming because there's so much cool stuff to learn.
Yeah, I gotta believe it's very overwhelming. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Oh, and they do a good job of leading you through it. I'm currently like 5 lessons into a class from Aaron Sorkin on screenwriting. I mean, it's really, really interesting. So Daniel Negreanu and poker. So it was awesome.
So what are you enjoying the most? What have you what have you enjoyed the most so far?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I think the Aaron Sorkin one, for whatever reason, I've enjoyed sort of his piece. He's not actually a great speaker, but you talk about a guy who has written some amazing movies. If you don't know, A Few Good Men, The American President, West Wing, all those. Mm-hmm. And so his stories are very interesting. And then I'm excited. I've always had a moderate interest in learning how to do magic. And so Penn and Teller's magic class is interesting too. So yeah, but whatever your interest, if you want to dance, makeup, cooking, gardening, whatever, they've got the best people on it. Really, really interesting. I highly recommend it.
It's something I've kind of looked at doing. I've really, over the pandemic, I've thrown myself into, I've always loved to cook, and I've really thrown myself into cooking and making different things. Like last week, I decided I'm going to make beef jerky on my smoker. And nice. I did. Yeah. And so I've kind of thought about doing the masterclass thing. I may have to give that a revisit. It's $180. And what kind of commission do you get from that, Kirby?
I get no commission. Actually, the thing I set up was I did it for $180. The deal I set up is I have a membership I can gift.
Okay. Okay. So that's great, Kirby. That'd be awesome. All right. Okay, so I've got a topic. This is a big one, Kirby. This is a big one. In fact, it's so big. Let's thank our secondary sponsor before we get to it. That's what's called a tease in the business, folks. But thanks our good pals over at Promo Show. It's the industry's first and only virtual trade show. We talked about how important it is these days. It's really creating some great connections for both suppliers and distributors in our industry. We've got over 150 suppliers right now exhibiting, and hundreds of distributors are visiting every day since our launch. These are updated stats, fresh. Hold on. Yes, they are fresh, right off the hot and steaming this morning. Over 10,000 visitors, accounting for over 50,000 page views, which is amazing.
That's
amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's truly amazing. So visit promoshow.com. You're not going to be sorry you did. If you don't know how to use Promo Show, if it seems like it's a little intimidating, a little weird, head to the Promo Show Facebook page. There's a video that Brandon Petrich did, kind of walks you through it. It's a 1-minute video. How to use it. It's very easy to use, but you really won't be sorry you did. It's the entire industry virtually.
Love it.
Okay. So all right, Kirby, do you like butter?
Sure.
Okay, good answer. So you're familiar with Land O'Lakes, correct?
I have heard of it, yes.
Okay. Did you notice did you know that they went under brand change?
They changed
their entire brand. So if you visualize the butter box of Land O'Lakes, it's Land O'Lakes, and there's a Native American woman in the O sitting there showing the wholesome goodness of that sweet cream butter. Right?
Okay. Yes.
Not anymore.
Okay.
They have very quietly replaced or taken the Native American woman away. It's gone. So if you go to the butter section of your local grocery store, it's not going to be there anymore. So the Native American woman has been on the box for over 100 years. So that's a big change. That's a big change. So Land O'Lakes is actually a farmer-owned co-op. And so they're trying to shift focus to this. So the packaging is going to start to include farmers, cooperative members, etc. And what the CEO said, they want packaging that reflects the foundation and heart of the company's culture. So we've talked in the past about the sensitivity revolving around Native American mascots, Native American symbolism in products, sports teams, things like that. What are your thoughts on this? Obviously, you haven't thought about it. You haven't heard about it. So now I get to blindside you.
No, it's no problem. You know me, I always have an opinion. So I would say, again, and I haven't Googled it. I don't have it in front of me or anything like that. My initial inclination is that logo was not like an offensive Native American logo.
And I don't think they had any. Yeah, I don't think they were pushed to do this. I don't think there was any blowback. I don't think there's anything like that. I think it was their choice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I would say that this is one of those things where, because it was a Native American in it, that's part of the reason that there's some sensitivity around it. The idea that a brand would change their brand to kind of be more representative of their core values, I think actually makes a ton of sense. And the idea that, okay, we're a farmer-owned co-op and we're going to have more imaging from agriculture or farmers, that doesn't bother me at all. So my initial reaction is, I think it could be a good talking point and a good move, but more about the idea of celebrating agriculture, less about the idea that they're getting rid of Native American.
Yeah,
so that's my take.
I kind of agree with you. I think I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that symbolism.
Yeah.
To me, it's an iconic logo because it's been around for 100 years. And to me, I never really gave it much thought. Like, that's offensive. To me, it represented just like it's wholesome and good and all that.
Yeah.
But I understand the shift to the messaging they're going to.
Yeah. I think that I come down differently on Native Americans in logos than other people do.
Right.
So, and I think that, it's always, man, we spend a lot of time judging other people's intent when we are not in their heads on stuff. And I think
we're really good at doing that too.
Yeah, it's become even more now. But I would say that there's a lot of times where I view having Native American mascots as a celebration of their heritage and their culture. Other people think it's insulting. Again, in my intent, I find it prideful. So, on this one, it's much less, I get why people would be offended by Chief Wahoo. Totally get that. Right.
Yeah.
But on something like this, I don't think it's about that. I think the story, if they're doing it right, is telling the story of shifting to celebrating their company's culture.
Well, look, it's their company. It's a farmer-owned cooperative, and if they think that I understand the shift to the farmer-owned cooperative angle, and so I just thought it was interesting that they didn't make a big announcement. They just took
that's actually American interesting. Off. Yeah, that's interesting to me actually. So
like they took the Native American off, and then people just noticed.
Yeah,
that's how people found out, which I kind of like that.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, you got a topic for us, Kirby?
Yeah, this might be a quick one. So one of the things I found in myself, and I'm going to tell a little tale on myself, is during this time. Now, in the interest of transparency, our company does social media marketing for other companies. So we are active in content and social media for our company.
Yeah.
But then we also do that for other companies. And so I find myself spending a lot of time, I always have, on social media networks, especially Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And my observation over the last several weeks is introspectively, I need to do a better job of actively taking breaks from Facebook right now.
No kidding.
Yeah. And again, I really haven't historically needed it from a mental health perspective. We alluded to it, I think, a little bit last week, just all of the negativity, all the conspiracy theories. And I found myself looking for, not purposely, but it was like everything I looked for or everything I saw was something to argue with. And it was really having a detrimental effect on my mental kind of state.
Right.
And so I sort of wanted to tell myself that I'm literally going to start building in breaks from active breaks from Facebook. And, like yesterday, because we were kind of trying to communicate, I had 3 hours of video shoot in the middle of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was awesome. Because
you were unplugged.
Yes, I was working, I was focused, and I wasn't worried about what some yahoo said on Facebook. And it was great for my mental health. And so I'm curious to know, I guess, really quickly from you is, have you found that to be a challenge for yourself now that you're kind of quarantining?
Hell no. No problem. I hate social media more than I ever have. I love it. I hate it. I love it. I hate it. I love it. I hate it. I go through the love-hate just like everybody else. Yeah. Right now, with what I'm doing with all the content, I am on social media more than I ever have been.
Right.
And so by the time the end of my day rolls around, the last thing I want to do is see anything on Facebook, see anything on Instagram, see anything on any social media platform. And so, no, I haven't had an issue with that because I've completely unplugged from it. I mean, there are times I put my phone and leave my phone in the office and go do other things, or I have my phone with me, but all it is playing music through a speaker somewhere. So I haven't had that issue, mainly because I'm so on it all the time.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be that available. Not to me, not to anybody else.
Yeah. It is a different time because it used to be, Facebook was a place I went just to entertain myself a little bit. Right. And now it's because it's become all encompassing. I'm like, okay, I'm like, it's too much for me. And, I found that, like, literally as I was coming up with topics for this, everything I'm coming up with is essentially showing that I'm annoyed with people.
Yeah.
And that is, for me, indicative of the fact that I'm spending too much time doing that. So, spending time, doing something with a purpose is going to be a focus over the next week. So.
Yeah, no, I need those breaks. All right, I got one more quick one, Kirby. Okay. One more quick one, which empties my list of topics.
Okay. I've got more if you need, but.
No, I think this will do it, and then we'll go into promo person of the week if you're cool with that.
I love it.
All right, so a lot of people are trying to find time to do things as families, which is one of the silver linings in the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this. The good people at Heinz, a lot of people are doing puzzles. And the good people at Heinz came out with a puzzle. Did you see this?
I did not.
It is a 570-piece puzzle, big puzzle, and it's Heinz Ketchup puzzle, and it's all just red. It is one big red square broken up into 570 pieces. That has got to be one of the hardest things to put together.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to get your take on that because I thought, man, that sounds like an ass whip to end ass whips.
Well, the thing is I'm not, again, I'm ADD already. So, like, even growing up, puzzles were a struggle for me. I don't have that long of an attention span to put things together. Like Jade, my daughter, man, she'll put together really intricate stuff. And she has and I think part of that's having an eye for it.
Yes.
And obviously it's a skill you can develop, I'm sure, but I've never had the patience to develop that skill. So the idea of putting an all red puzzle together is, like, seriously, poke me in the eye with a hot poker.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm kind of the same way. I don't love puzzles. I used to as a kid.
Really?
Now it's like I just want to find a corner and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's fun. I like that.
All right. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't. If anybody's done that puzzle, I'd love to hear how that worked out and how many arguments you got in as families.
Yeah,
I'd really love to hear that.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Kirby, we're now at the time of the podcast where we find the promo person of the week. We not only find that person, we celebrate that person. It's dedicated to highlight the one person in the promo industry who's grabbing our attention and making us take notice. Now, last week, our promo person of the week, I don't think she ever heard our little dedication to her, which makes me Billy sad today, but that's okay. We're going to try again today. So, Kirby, you have the promo person of the week. Your dime, your dance floor. Let's go.
I love it. So, we always go through sort of like this. I think both of us have a different process, but I essentially just start thinking around the industry about people who either they're doing something right this minute that catches my attention, which certainly that makes it easy.
Yeah.
When there's not somebody that is doing that comes top of mind, I just start thinking of people I admire in the industry. And that certainly is the case this week. So this week, my promo person of the week is Daryl Griffin.
Oh, love Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl is such an inspiration. She, I think it was this year, she was the 2019 Women of Achievement Award winner.
Yeah, Best Cohen. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so, and then she was also a speaker at SKUCon this past year. And it was so interesting to watch her come up on stage. I think one of the things with SKUCon is they have all kinds of different kinds of speakers come up, different energy, all that stuff. When Daryl came up on stage, it was just like everybody stopped and just kind of listened to what she had to say. She had an inspiring message. And that's sort of my takeaway every time I kind of engage with Daryl is she lifts other people around her and she inspires people. So Daryl is my person of the week.
I love that. Daryl's great. I know Daryl a little bit. I've met her a few times, had great conversations with her. And I've heard her speak a few times. I missed her talk at SKUCon this year because I had to bolt for other things, for rack board meetings and things like that, PPI meetings, but extraordinarily inspirational. That's when I think of Daryl Griffin, I think she may be one of the most inspirational people, not just women, but just people I've ever met. So what a great choice, Kirby. Daryl Griffin, congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. She's one of those people I think, and I don't know her well enough for her to do this, but I think Daryl's one of those people and just know she's one of those people who could tell you a hard truth to your face.
Yeah.
And you'd thank her. You know what I mean? Not everybody
absolutely.
So that's my take.
All right, Kirby, we are now at the final segment of this podcast, Dealer's Choice. You're going to be very happy. Right. I am done. I am taking a break from rapid fire. I can't.
No, it's fine. It's your choice.
I'm having a little fun today. This should be fun. There actually are no wrong answers. I'm just curious. This is kind of, when we designed this little segment, we thought it was kind of get to know people sometimes, get to know us a little better.
Yeah.
So we're going to play Desert Island.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a few things and you get to take one thing with you. So for example, the first one is a tool. You're marooned on a desert island. What tool would you take with you?
What tool would I take on a desert island?
Mm-hmm. One.
I'm going to go. I mean, multi-use tool would be a thing, but I think a saw.
Okay.
So, because I figure you could cut a tree and build a boat or something.
What skill would you take that you have? You can only take one of your skills. This isn't easy.
No, it's not, but interesting. So what skill would I take? I think I would need to develop more patience. That's not a great skill I have, but I think if I were living on a desert island, I need to do better.
One person outside of your immediate family. So you can take one person with you to keep you company. What one person do you take outside your immediate family?
I mean, you.
Oh, please. That's a lie. You want to tell the truth now? Or are you going to stick with that?
Why wouldn't I take you?
All right. One set of clothing. So you're marooned on this island. What are you wearing when you got marooned? Because that's the only set of clothing you got.
Oh, man. I think it's a pair of shorts and a Jimmy Buffett t-shirt. That just feels right.
What album? One album. You can take only one album.
Songs You Know by Heart.
That would be Jimmy Buffett, okay?
Yeah, greatest hits of Jimmy Buffett.
You can take one movie with you. One movie with you.
Feels like Castaway, which I've actually never seen the whole thing, but it feels like that would be like almost a documentary that I could work through.
Yeah, okay. So Castaway.
Yeah, Castaway.
Maybe give you some tips
yeah,
of the
exactly.
trade.
Yeah, that's right.
Especially for tooth removal.
Yeah.
All right, what photograph? You can take one photograph with you to remind you of where you're not. What would you take?
There's a picture of my family dressed up as the Incredibles at Disneyland.
I've seen that. Yes.
That one brings me joy.
Okay, last one. You take a lot of vacations, and I don't mean that in a crappy way, but you make it a priority to take vacations.
Yeah.
What's the one vacation memory you will take with you to your desert island?
One vacation memory. I think the thing that just popped into my head is down in Mexico, the girls, we had credits, so we swam with dolphins. And it was interesting for us to do, but watching Jade and Sky literally ride around, they rode around on it. That was just that was a cool day. I think that one.
Love that one. What podcast would you take with you? So you can take one podcast with you, so you'll get continual updates until they stop recording.
One podcast, outside of unscripted, of course, because that wouldn't be going on if I'm on a desert island.
No.
So I'm going to go with Ed Milet's Max Out. It's not necessarily an update thing, but he is one of those guys that inspires me, and I have a feeling I would need plenty of inspiration if I was lonely on an island.
Okay, and last one, Kirby, you know where I'm going with this. What book would you bring?
I think that the book I would bring on, I'd go fiction. And the book Ender's Game is a book that I've read a bunch of times. I would read it a bunch more.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. That's it. See?
Okay. Not bad.
There was no gotcha. There was no wrong answer. Everything came up roses. And you know what else comes up roses?
Which by the way, is why I would bring you to the desert island.
If I had a heart, I would feel emotions right now.
Sorry.
But you know what also, but actually, you know what always fills my hearts with emotion? Or my heart with emotion? I don't have hearts. I have one.
Yeah, both of them, yes. Which one?
Good pals over at Common Skew. As I say this in my Matthew McConaughey voice. Common Skew is built and designed by distributors for distributors. They were cool before he had to be cool. Okay, anyway, so they understand the challenges modern distributor faces, and we talk about it all the time. We already talked about how it keeps your sales life organized. One of the things I always like to touch on, you like to touch on, is the people. Such fantastic people who truly not just care about you succeeding in your business. Man, they're invested in it, right? They are truly invested in your success. So you want to learn more about that distributor tool. It's going to help you organize and sell and grow your business in a responsible way. Head over to commonskew.com. You're not going to be sorry you did. Kirby, thank you again for having the courage to podcast with me today.
Absolutely. And I just really quickly, I'm really glad you brought up the people aspect of Common Skew, because it was a conversation we were having in this building yesterday.
There you go.
Because it's one of the reasons that we are all in on that because of the people. So.
And that's what you call an unsolicited testimonial, folks. We're out.
Thank you for listening to Unscripted with Kirby Hasseman and Bill Petrie. Unscripted is available every Friday at promocorner.com, the leader in digital marketing for the promotional products industry.